Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I know it's been a really hot minute since I have been gone. Sorry, let me readjust this just a little bit. So I know it's been a hot minute since I've been gone. I am here home filming today. Sorry for the background, it's not the greatest, but anyways, I've been gone for the last month. I've been pretty sick. I'm finally getting back to normal. So long story short of it, I had my gallbladder removed. Tomorrow will be 3 weeks since I've had it removed. But I've been sick for the last month with it. And I've been dealing with a lot of back pain, a lot of different issues. So I just kind of wanted to make a video today about what I experienced. I was 21 weeks pregnant when I got it removed. So I think today I'm 24 weeks pregnant today. And just talk a little bit about what happened, what was going on, where I'm at now, and kind of future plans here, with videos and updates and whatnot. So anyways, about a month ago, I started experiencing back pain, and I usually have lower back pain, and that's normal in pregnancy and stuff. So I didn't think too much of it. I just bought a pregnancy pillow, one of the long L-shaped pregnancy pillows for since I'm starting to get a belly. I got a pregnancy pillow so that I can maybe sleep a little bit more comfortable, because I've been sleeping with a pillow between my legs. And I side sleep, so I toss and turn a lot. So I bought a pillow, and I started having shoulder pain up in my left shoulder, kind of where my shoulder blade is to the middle of my back, give or take, which was really strange. But I kind of chalked it up as to just being the pillow, Well, at first I thought it was just back pain, right? And I just couldn't figure it out. And I was like, well, my back hurts. So another about 2 weeks, probably give or take, went by. I gave the pillow to a friend of mine, and then I decided, my husband was doing hot rock massages on my upper left shoulder blade and stuff like that. So anywho, so those 2 weeks go by. I give my friend the pillow because my husband's like, well, maybe it's the pillow you bought, So I was like, oh, that makes sense. So let me, give her my pillow. I was like, I'll just sleep with a pillow between my legs like I've been doing. So I give my friend the pillow, and then a week later, I have this pain that wakes me up in the middle of the night. I don't know, some odd hour of the morning or late at night. And it was under my left breastbone and rib cage, all the way around my side to my back, up into my shoulder again. And this is all, keep in mind, on the left side. Okay? So I knew going forward, I knew that I had gallstones. This I knew for probably the last year or two that I've had gallstones before I even got pregnant. Never really had a lot of issues. Had some dull aches on the right side where my gallbladder is. Didn't really think a whole lot of it. Just kind of was like, okay, whatever. So it was confusing to me because like I said, I woke up in the middle of the night and the pain was on the left side. So about 24 hours goes by, which I know is a long time, but I suffer from nocturnal panic attacks. So the pain I was having wasn't, to me, it was much different from the panic attacks I've experienced. But I'm always in the emergency room for my panic attacks. So I decided, I was like, okay, I'm going to just not go to the doctor or anything. I'm just going to see what happens, because maybe it's a panic attack. Maybe it's some kind of different form of anxiety. Who knows? So a full 24 hours goes by. And by the next night, around probably I'd say 10 o'clock or so, 9:30, 10 o'clock, I was wreathing in so much pain for hours that I was like, something's not right, because I've never had a panic attack last 24 hours. And this pain got worse and worse, and I could not lay on my left side. I could not lay on my right side. I couldn't hardly lay on my back. It hurt to move, walk, do anything. I mean, I was literally, I was doing ice packs. I was eating so much Tylenol that I was getting alarmed, because even being pregnant, I know they say the whole Tylenol thing, but it's all I can take. So my husband ends up taking me to the emergency room at I get there about 11:30 at night. This is on the 4th of July, actually, on Tuesday, 4th of July. So I go into the hospital, and long story short, I sat there reading for 3.5 hours in the emergency room in pain, because it's the 4th of July. Obviously this would hit me on a holiday, but I was in some of the most severe pain I've ever been in my life that I can remember. I felt like I was dying. At that moment, I would have taken death. That's how bad it was hurting. It felt like somebody was stabbing me under my left rib cage and my shoulder blade, and I was puking. Before I left the house, I puked yellow bile everywhere. I was dehydrated. I couldn't eat. I tried eating oatmeal. That made it worse. And at this point, I'd kind of realized, I'm like, okay, this is my gallbladder, because I remember my doctor telling me a couple years ago, like, if you're ever puking and hurting really bad or having shoulder pains, granted on the right side, they say, but later on I ended up figuring out, obviously, that you have something called referred pain, which means you can have pain on the opposite side even though your ailment is on the right side. So I go to the hospital, I wait 3.5 hours, I'm puking stomach acid, I cannot eat, I'm severely dehydrated, I'm ill. They take me back to the emergency room about 3.5 hours in. And they could not hardly get an IV. They poked me like 5 times, put in like 3 different IVs, a couple of them blew because I was dehydrated, which is always my luck. So they end up doing a bunch of scans. They couldn't really find much. Obviously, then the gallstones, everything kind of checked out. They did blood work, it all checked out. I had like a little bit of elevated, white blood cells in that. I had elevated, I believe it was white blood cells. And so anyways, as I'm breathing in pain, they ended up giving me, and by the way, I'm just going to forewarn, like, I was on a lot of strong pain medication. I know I'm pregnant. That was completely not ideal. But again, I was in so much pain that the stress level was kind of scary for me and the baby, because they were afraid I was overstressing my baby. So they did give me small amounts of morphine. The morphine did help, but I had to have like 2 rounds of morphine to calm it down. This is literally after probably a full day and a half of suffering, and I spent hours in the emergency room. They finally ended up saying, like, we can't really find a whole lot other than the gallstones. Your heart looks a little stressed, and you have elevated white blood cells. So I'm like, okay. So they're like, you can either go home or we can send you to TMC for further evaluation, because TMC, I was at Northwest Hospital in Tucson. TMC is the bigger hospital. It's right next to my OBGYN, and they have OBGYNs on hand. So they were like, if something happens, or just to get a further diagnosis, we would feel comfortable sending you to TMC, because we don't have any OBGYNs on staff here at this hospital. So I was like, okay. So because I was alarmed by the amount of pain that I was in, I was like, okay, transfer me to TMC and let's see if they can find anything else, or just see how I feel over the next couple of days, because I don't want to go home and experience this again. So I wait a few hours, probably 2-3 hours. They're giving me pain medication, kind of keeping the pain at bay. I start feeling a little bit better, just a little bit. They start giving me kind of clear liquids and different things, and then they transfer me over to TMC via ambulance. So that's like a 10-15 minute ride. I'd say probably maybe 15-minute ride, and I get to TMC. They give me a room that I'm sharing with somebody, which that's a long story on another day, but they give me a room, and I'm, thank God, by the window. And they take me in and they do a bunch of ultrasounds and stuff. Now they do the ultrasounds from about my breastbone down to my ankles to check for blood clots, to check my pancreas, my liver, my heart, the whole 9 yards, right? To rule everything out. So they do all that, and basically, again, after a couple of nights of staying in the hospital, and I was having a lot of stomach issues, obviously, because of not only my gallbladder, but the pain medication was giving me stomach issues, and I just really wasn't feeling well. So I stayed like 2 days in TMC, I want to say, because Thursday or Friday morning, I think Friday morning I got discharged. So Tuesday I went into Northwest. Wednesday, I believe I got transferred over to TMC and spent Wednesday evening, Thursday, and then Friday morning I left TMC. So I spent a full almost like 3.5-4 days in the hospital between the two, only to discover that they had not seen much other than some gallstones. So the doctor basically comes in and tells me before they discharge me, they're like, you can stay another day if you're not feeling well, but it looks as if it's probably your gallbladder. Cholestasis is what they call it, I believe. And she's like, all you can do is try to eat lower fat foods. We really don't recommend in pregnancy getting it removed unless it's an absolute issue. So I'm like, okay. So, and I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to try to get it under control, because I don't want to have an operation either when I'm 20 weeks pregnant. So I'm like, okay. So at this point, I'm about 20 weeks pregnant. And so they go and they discharge me the next day. Mind you, I'm kind of on clear fluids most of the time. Then the day before I leave, they give me solid foods, and that was the whole story. It won't be TMI, but my stomach was just not in a good spot. And then they send me home. So I'm feeling a little bit better. The attack obviously lasted a day and a half. I was suffering from a gallbladder attack. They think I passed a gallstone is what they think at this point. They're like, she's probably passed a gallstone. She has cholestasis. She has a bad gallbladder, but we're going to try to see if maybe, you know, diet change and that will remedy it so that we don't have to remove it until after pregnancy. Which, keep in mind, I'm thinking the whole time this is going to be my third C-section. I know I have that upcoming. I know I'm getting a tubal done. I know I don't want any more children, and this is going to be another obviously major, semi-major operation that I'm going to have, and then I'm going to have to wait to heal from that another couple of months before I'm going to be able to get my gallbladder removed. So I'm kind of panicking here because I'm like, I don't want to get it done while I'm pregnant, but I also don't want to keep suffering these attacks that I could be potentially suffering from. So long story short, I go home, I go the next day or two, maybe, you know, when I'm feeling better, or the following, I think it was like the next day or so, like on Saturday, I went grocery shopping. I get all healthy stuff. I get like salmon, I get, you know, fruits, vegetables, all zero sugar, no sugar, like sherbet ice cream, like just, granted, I know that has sugar in it, but I'm just, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I went and got all healthy stuff, thinking, okay, I'm going to change my diet, I'm going to eat lower fat, which is probably what's irritating it, I'm going to keep away from spicy, I'm just going to try to do better, health-wise. So that Saturday passes, Sunday passes, Monday passes. I'm not feeling well these 3 days, right? Like, I'm feeling better. I'm not in excruciating pain, but I just overall, I'm like really tired, really exhausted, really crappy feeling. I'm like queasy. I'm just generally unwell feeling, if I can explain it. And not like a virus flu kind of well, just generally like something's wrong with me, not well. So the next week on Tuesday, I can't make this up, the next Tuesday, I believe it was July 11th, exactly a week after my last attack, the night before, that night, I think it was Tuesday night, I go up to my in-laws' house and we're eating dinner, and I take a salmon up. Salmon, sweet potatoes, and veggies with plant-based butter, right? Like, this is what I had. This is the meal I had. Now, me not thinking, I obviously know there's, like, salmon's a good fat, but I wasn't thinking, like, bad fat. So I was like, okay, the salmon's probably good for me, right? I eat this salmon, and mind you, the whole time I'm hurting, right? Like, I'm already having pain, and this time it's actually under my right rib cage, so I'm like, I know it's my gallbladder at this point, because it was on the left side the first attack. But this time around, my shoulder blade's hurting up on the left side, but under my right rib cage, not my left, my right rib cage, I have the pain where your gallbladder is located, actually, right? You know, I think it's like right below your liver, you know, right in there under your right rib cage. So I start having this pain. I'm still not feeling good. So I'm like, I'm going to eat and go lay down. So I eat the salmon. I eat a bunch of veggies, again, with plant-based butter. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but it was plant-based butter, okay? It wasn't like fatty butter or anything. I eat one sweet potato with some brown sugar, sue me, and then I had the salmon. And I didn't eat a whole lot of the salmon. I ate like just like a normal portion of salmon, you know, like, I mean, probably like that looks like a lot, but you know, like a piece of salmon. So I go home, and I may be home for 30 minutes, and all of a sudden it hits again. Like, I'm sitting on the couch, and this time, again, it's all kind of similar, but instead of the left side, like I said, the left side shoulder pain is in the same spot. It feels like someone is stabbing me with a knife in my left shoulder blade to the middle of left of my shoulder blade up the top. And then under my right rib cage, I'm suffering a severe dull ache to sharp pain that's like radiating around me. So like my whole area, like up here below my breast, is hurting, and my left shoulder blade. So I basically was sitting on the couch and I started crying. So I was like, man, like this, like something, like they've got to remove my gallbladder, like something bad, like it's not good. Like I cannot be going into the hospital functioning like this. Like I cannot be this ill. So my main concern was eating a lot of Tylenol because it's all I can take, you know. And I just was like, after I've taken, you know, 2,000 plus milligrams of Tylenol in a short period of time, like 12 hours, I'm like, something's got to be done. It's not even, the Tylenol wasn't even touching it, okay? Like I was taking Tylenol, it wasn't doing anything. So Tuesday the 11th, exactly a week later, okay, after I eat all the salmon and all that, my husband has to, like an hour later, I'm like, look, you're going to have to take me to the hospital again. I'm like, let's just do it now and get out of the way. You drop me off, like leave the kids with your parents, drop me off, then you come back, because he had work the next morning. And I knew what was going to, like, I kind of knew this was all coming, right? Because I was like, they're not going to let me keep coming in here and getting pain medication. Like, something's going to have to be done when I'm in this much pain. So she takes me to TMC, which is the hospital I should have gone to last time for the first time. But it is, again, a little bit further of a drive north. So he takes me to TMC. He takes me to the emergency room. I go inside the emergency room, explain to them. They obviously saw that I was previously admitted like a week, like literally 5 days like I just got discharged like 4 days ago for cholestasis. And so they admit me. And within, I'd say, maybe 10 minutes, I go pee really quick. I go to the waiting room. Within 5 minutes, they call me back. I talked to them. They get me a room. Well, they were going to send me back out, and the lady's like, we have a room for. So they get me a room. I sat in the TMC emergency room again. It hit me around, it was like 11 o'clock I got there. I sat there till almost 2:30 or 3 or something in the morning. It was around between 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning before I got any pain medication. I sat wreathing in pain. I had my own room in the emergency room, okay? Great. But like I was in a small little room in the hospital watching TV, wreathing. I couldn't even really watch TV. I was in so much pain. I was just bent over and moving around in the bed, and they got an IV in this time, thank goodness, because I try to drink lots of water. They got an IV in relatively easily, and they start giving me fluids. So then I'm peeing every 5 minutes because they're giving me fluids, and I'm pregnant. So I keep going up to get to the bathroom, which is hard because I'm constantly, like, I'm in so much pain from my gallbladder that I'm unable to like function, but yet I have to get up and go pee. So finally, the problem was all the doctors were kind of busy. They didn't have like an ER doctor at the moment, or a doctor that could put in orders, and their system was down because they do maintenance or something at a certain hour. So they couldn't even put in orders for medications, and they had no doctor to come see me and to look over my medical work to see what they could do for me or what was going on. Like they had a general gist, but obviously they're just going to give you pain medicine. So I'd say around between 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning, I get a doctor to come in, and they are like, we're going to get another ultrasound on you. We know that it's your gallbladder, obviously, but we're going to get an ultrasound on you because we really don't want to have to do a surgery on you being pregnant. We're going to try to figure out what we can do. We're going to talk to a surgeon, and we're going to talk to like an OB and see what we can do and see what the best option is with the amount of pain that you're in. So I'm obviously in tears. They're like, what's your pain level? And this is last time and this time. They like asked me what my pain level is on 1 to 10. I'm 10 every time. I'm like 10 plus. I'm like, I'm not exaggerating this. I've never felt a pain like this in my life, which is the truth. So the doctor goes, okay, I'll give you, she's like, what did they give you last time? I was like, last time they gave me morphine. She was like, all right, I'll order you some morphine. And then she disappears. Comes back like 20 minutes later, my nurse, she starts giving me IV morphine. So I'm laying there, and a couple hours goes by. This morphine gives you the great little head feeling, doesn't touch my pain. Like the morphine is not helping me. And I feel bad because I feel like they think you're exaggerating it, especially like when you're pregnant. It's like, I'm not exaggerating it. Like I was in so much pain, the morphine wasn't touching it. So like, I think they gave me like 2 small doses, obviously, of morphine, obviously spaced out within like, I think 4 hours each. And then, because I sat in the emergency room for like almost a full day, not a full day, but I'd say at least 12 hours I sat in the emergency room before they got me my own private room. But anyways, so they get me in there. So then they start giving me fentanyl, low doses of fentanyl, because and that was the only thing that helped my pain somewhat, but it brought it down from like a 10 to a 5 or so. Like I was in so much pain that like liquid fentanyl was barely helping me. So they come in, and then I see the doctor, and they're like, we talked with a surgeon. They're going to do the surgery. They're going to remove your gallbladder because we can't obviously keep giving you this extremely strong pain medication with you being pregnant. And you can't sit here in pain. And, so they do an ultrasound in between all this before they do the surgery. Obviously, they do an ultrasound. They see that my gallbladder has gallstones and is inflamed, but obviously they can only tell so much on an ultrasound. So they take me down to a private room at this point. They're still giving me pain medication and trying to manage it. At this point, they dropped me down, thank God, to like Vicodin, and we're trying to like alter Vicodin with the liquid pain, with the IV pain medication to try to alter it, to keep it at bay until they could do surgery. And then a surgeon comes in after they get me to a private room on the women's unit, and they tell me, the surgeon explains everything to me. Very nice guy. He was chill. He was like, now's the best time to do it in the 2nd trimester. If you're going to have it done, even though it's unfortunate either way around, obviously the risk involved are sad and depressing. You could lose your baby, yourself, whatever. But I mean, so I'm like, okay, I had faith in him. He seemed like a nice doctor. He's like, I think it'll be relatively no problems, So I go forth with the surgery. So 4 o'clock the next afternoon. So I get up to a private room that day, spend the night there. They give me pain medicine and, monitor me. And the next day at 4 in the afternoon, it took me back around 1 in the afternoon. And they prepped me for surgery. And at 4 o'clock, I went in and got my gallbladder removed. Woke up from the anesthesia. It was terrible. My throat was severely sore. I was crying. I was just in a lot of pain. But baby was doing okay. They monitored her heartbeat after the fact and made sure baby was okay the whole time. And so obviously I was in a lot of pain. I spent like 2 days in the hospital after that, and then I got to come home. And I'd say took a full 2 weeks before I was feeling better, and now 3 weeks in I feel normal, thank goodness. And I do have like a couple little scars, nothing major, like teeny tiny ones, because it's a laparoscopic surgery. I'm feeling much better now. I'm pretty much on a regular back to myself diet. I'm not trying not to eat too much garbage, or, you know, but I mean, I'm pregnant. I have to eat fats. But everything is pretty much back to normal for the most part, I would say. But it was very scary. It was the sickest I've ever been. And besides 2 C-section for having my 2 previous, you know, children, I had never had a major operation or anything. Like, I'd never been that sick. But it was my gallbladder, and it was acute, because you can have either chronic, which is like gallstones and little episodes, or you can have, that's chronic, where you can have acute, which is like where it's inflamed and really bad. It wasn't gangrene or anything, but the doctor said it was acute. It was very inflamed, and there was no diet or anything that was going to fix it. And it was a good thing that I got it removed, because had I not, you know, it could have gotten more inflamed and got infected and spread to my pancreas or liver, or potentially killed me. So it's a good thing it's gone. Didn't want to have to get it removed. I wish I could have done diet change and maybe have kept it, but at this point it was so bad that I just didn't care. So at 21 weeks I got it removed. Everything went well. Baby's still moving and doing good today. 3 weeks later, I'd go for an ultrasound next week to finish up my anatomy scan that got messed up a few weeks ago. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Give me just one moment. So anyhow, I have to kind of wrap this video up, but I just wanted to say that all is well. And I will be making some more makeup videos here soon. I'm just, like I said, I've been really sick the past month. I know a lot of people film. I wasn't in the mood to film. So I do apologize. There will be more videos coming. I'm going to make them fun, happy videos, hopefully, of makeup and things of that nature. So yeah, just stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching. Sorry, it was kind of a long one, but that's what I've been up to. So talk to you guys later. Bye.